Which goes into what I was going to ask you next. How did you not break the character of your future self? Because for me, like I'm okay, I see myself growing every day. There's always something I'm learning that's new. There's always something that I'm inspired by that I want to try. And how do I keep the momentum going?
You just make the commitment. Like, so remember, it's never about perfection, it's always about progress. And there gets to be a point in the beginning when we're becoming her, when we're moving into that dream version of ourselves, we're gonna break character like probably every 5 minutes. You know what I mean? It's just part of the process. But when you're doing it, you recognize it immediately, you stop and you decide better literally the next moment, and you go right back into character, and you keep doing that until the bouts or the length of time that you're actually in character gets longer and longer and longer. Because think of like people like that are confident, that really, like, wow, they're so confident. They're not confident 100% of the time. It's when they break their own character and they feel insecure in that moment, they don't allow themselves to stay there. It doesn't become like this personality of themselves. It's not days and days and days. It might be a minute, a couple minutes, maybe an hour or so, but they do the inner self talk and they pull themselves out of it and they go back to what is normal for them, which is confident. So we're going to break character sometimes, and that's okay, because it's not about shaming ourselves. It's about, all right, what was I doing that allowed me to break character? And then we remove that shit. Oh, I see, I was negotiating. Oh, I see, I went to the store and I bought the cake in the house, or I was driving by the bar 900 times. And instead of intervening and getting help and reaching out for the resources that I know, or doing the habits that support me, go listening to guided meditations, journaling and scripting my new self identity, working through my trigger, I just did what I've always done. So I didn't help myself as best as I could. And then you write the plan. A lot of people don't write plans. When I'm teaching people who've never really done this, I'm like, write the plan. If you got to jump on the floor and do 20 push-ups, you jump on the floor and do 20 push-ups or 20 jumping jacks to snap you out of whatever's going on in you, that rumination that happens of feeling not good enough or whatever we're struggling with. You do what you need to do to get out of that hump. And you have to try a bunch of different things that are healthy, right? That all the habit wise that support the new you until you get out of that hump. I can remember I used to listen, like when I felt insecure and not good enough, and I had my 3D reflecting all of that to me in my love life, I would feel so bad. And my urge and impulse, because I created a coping mechanism where when I felt insecure, I would reach out and lash out or send the 20 paragraph text to get a response, to get my dopamine hit, to know, oh, they're still there. They still care about me, right? So I would feel better. Well, that action did not support a woman with a high self concept and love, who loved herself and respected herself. So I was not going to do that action anymore. But that urge was still there. It didn't go away when I felt insecure. So I had to find different things to do. And a lot of them, I would sit on my bed and cry and listen to guided meditations of, I love you on YouTube. You're amazing. I have some really good ones on YouTube. There's so many amazing ones on YouTube. And I would just listen to them over and over and over and over. I would get on the floor. I would do the push ups. I would do whatever. I would journal. I would write on my notebook for an hour if I needed to, not bad stuff about myself, that I am worthy. It's okay that I feel sad right now. I'm working through it. This is good for me. In my future, this is who I'm becoming. This is what I'm going to experience. And I would just do whatever I needed to do until I soothed myself in a way that was me empowering myself and not relying on anyone or anything outside of me to make it feel better. It was me. I just made myself feel better. And the more I did that, the less I suffered and the less I broke character. But you're going to break character a lot in the beginning.
Oh yes. And my husband and I, whenever we would have little tiffs, they happen, we have a very loving relationship, but we have fights sometimes.
Of course. It'd be
you
weird if
know,
you didn't.
yeah. So what I used to do before in my past relationships, I would be physical. I would yell, I would scream, I would throw things. I was just chaos. I still have chaos. Okay, don't get me wrong, but in a better way. Let's just say that. But
Yeah.
what I would do now is I would just go drive myself, go in nature and take a journal and start writing out like what my goals are, what do I want to do next in my business? What do I want to do? Anything that inspires me to become the next version of myself. And it
Yes.
empowered me and it made me feel good. And And I got a moment to take a time out too, instead of getting into a fight. I
Yeah.
took it that I needed to step out because I know myself sometimes. And I'm still learning every day. But I think that once we are very comfortable with ourselves, and then that we really like go in within ourselves and learn who we are, we don't care about the BS that happens. We just say, okay, it's going to pass. It's fine. And we just make it a better
Yes.
experience next time.
Oh yeah. Well, and I mean, listen, when we're dealing with people and there's going to be times where we manifest in, a moment where it's not great and we react in a way that isn't the best. But I think it's like you said, you keep going within, you do the inner work. It's really making a choice too. Like I had to really work on, I didn't want to be angry anymore because I was her for so long. And I really was like, I just want that inner peace that even no matter what's happening around me, I never get to that level. Cause I used to be able, like you, to get to and I didn't like how it made me feel internally. And so I just did the same thing I've been saying this whole podcast over and over again. Like I picked my new self concept. Like I would ask myself, who would I be if I wasn't angry? What does that feel like? What would I do in these situations, like the ones that trigger us? Like there was a time where it would be in my car, like I'm not like severe road rage, but like I would get so mad at someone, I'd flip them off, cuss them out, I'd make sure they knew I was mad. And I manifest in a lot of experiences where people were getting aggressive back to me. And so I was like, all right, is this really the reality I want? But I've done it for so long, for so many years. It was like so unconscious. And as I was going through this process, I was like, oh, I started noticing it was always happening around the time of the month, like clockwork.